Welcome back to Kind of Funnies in Review each and every Tuesday right here on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. We get together and rank and review different movie franchises, but we're doing something a little bit different right now. We are talking about Aladdin 2019, comparing it to Aladdin 1992, the animated classic. Greg Miller, what you got? Why you giving the laugh so early?
Oh, that's me and Nick. Don't just put on me. It's Nick and I having a great time over here, right?
Yeah, the intro just kind of cut off for a second. It caught me off guard, and then I thought, oh my God, did I just look like Kevin from that one time on Screencast where he forgot he was hosting the show?
Never forget.
You don't understand what happens at this end of the table, right?
You don't get it.
There's
a little warmth happening at this end of the table.
You got paired with a baked potato named Andy Cortez, all right? Nobody knows what this guy is.
He's a plain
He doesn't even know what fucking day it is, Andy.
Try putting some butter on yourself there, buddy.
You suck. We hate you.
Sucks so bad.
Wow, things got dark. I'm Tim Gettys. This is Andy Cortez. That's Kevin Coelho.
Baked potato.
Greg Miller and Nick Scarpino rounded out the group. But yeah, like I said, this is going to be Aladdin in review. Just comparing it to the original. You can get the show Kind of Funny in Review every Tuesday, 11 a.m. live on Twitch, or you can watch it later, youtube.com/kindoffunny, on roosterteeth.com, or on podcast services. Just search for Kind of Funny Reviews.
If I may say.
You may say.
This is a non sequitur. No, I was going to give you a compliment. I want to compliment you, all right?
You're going to apologize?
I just looked in the camera. Andy, you did such a great job with this new Kind of Funny shirt. Really proud of you.
Well, it's
great.
I made the color. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's what we're
Wow.
Well, Wes Bray made it.
Oh.
Wes Bray.
You didn't design this shirt.
No, I made the colors the way they look, though.
So you take credit for what, like 20% of it?
Wow,
30% of
that's
it?
kind of shitty of you,
It's
man.
weird
Wes
that
Bray
we
worked
hired
so
you
hard
to
on
make
this.
shirts. You know
I mean,
what
Wes Bray made all of it. He did
We
all
hired
of it.
you to make shirts.
He did all
Shout out
of
to
it.
Wes
He
Bray.
made the tech pack so we could put it
Remember when
online.
he was like, "Oh, it's gonna be a compliment."
You can go to kindoffunny.com/store
shirt.
to get the shirt so you can look like three of us right now. That's
It's going to be
fantastic.
a joke about it.
Fantastic for everybody. How you guys
fix
doing?
sex.
Everything good?
Good.
When did we all see the movie? I think that's an important way to start.
I think
All of us saw it together except Kevin.
Except for Kevin.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
We were
all
all
saw
in the
last
same
night?
theater, which is weird.
Yeah.
I didn't
Last
see any
night?
of you until we left. I saw Greg as he was peeing, and then I walked out after I peed. He was gone.
I was so confused because when I walked in to pee, Andy was peeing at the urinal in the blue jacket, and I was like, wait, I saw the Instagram story about him and Nick being in the same color blue jacket
day is it?
3 days ago. And I was like, are you here for a different movie?
The time change from Florida. Like,
Sure, exactly.
wow.
Yeah, I
Same
beat
time
it here,
here.
I beat it here.
3 days difference. That's what
Andy
they
and I
always say.
had 2 dates over the weekend.
Yeah.
We went and saw John Wick Parabellum together, which was an
Annabelle.
interesting thing that we'll talk about on the Kind of Funny podcast later today. And then we sat, and then I sat down. I got there like 10 minutes late, thinking, oh, I'll just get like through most of the previews, and then as I sit down perfectly with my Snickers bites, I'll be like ready to go. I get there 10 minutes late. There's still more previews.
Oh, yeah.
It's insanely loud. And
Yes,
then
okay,
another,
good.
and then another
Previews
10 minutes.
are loud.
Dude, it's
In
so
Dolby.
loud. And then another 10 minutes go by, and I'm like, man, we're still in previews, and there's an empty seat next to me. I forgot where I was. I didn't see any of you. I thought you guys were like punking me for a while. And then Andy, as like the 15th preview is going, Andy comes with this giant popcorn and just sits there. He's like, hey man, what's up?
Dude.
I got Skittles.
And I know this is about, we're supposed to talk about Aladdin, but as a Dolby theater experience, Jen and I literally were like, why is this happening?
It was as loud as the Let's Go Pikachu. Or not Let's Go Pikachu. The
Detective
Detective Pikachu movie, preview.
It was-
I know
What's the-
previews are mixed so poorly in Dolby, and I don't know why. Like, it's only the trailers.
I was actually excited though, because I'm like, cool, we're watching a musical. I want this shit to hit.
To pump.
Because I'll never forget when we went and saw, I think it was Spider-Verse.
It was.
And the sound fucking blew.
Kabuki, man.
And it was Kabuki.
Never
And when
had
it hits that part where like the song kicks in and he actually finally becomes Spider-Man, it was like,
How you like me now?
and I was like, is it fucking playing? Why isn't it playing? It's a
No,
fucking
that's
hip-hop song, for
big
Christ's
problem,
sake.
man. Big
It's terrible.
problem.
So I'd rather it be too loud than not loud
The movie
enough.
was fun. Once again,
Movie's
the
great.
movie was
The movie,
fun.
yeah.
It's like
movie
weather.
balance
I
was
want
good.
it to be cold and hot.
Sure.
'cause you wear a
yeah,
bunch
let's
of
go with
jackets,
that.
you know what
Let's
I
go with
mean?
that.
Let's go with the campaign. Let's go. Yeah, no, it was weird because I knew that Greg was going. For some reason, I didn't remember you guys were going then. I thought you went with Kevin.
I thought it was just Tim and Joey.
So
I was
Joey
very
wasn't even
excited.
there.
Yeah.
And so I'm there. Kurt and Shari are there with me. And then I see Greg and Jen. I'm like, all right, cool. They're there. Then when I'm leaving, I was like, oh, yeah, Greg's here somewhere. And I'm looking for Greg. Don't see Greg. I'm like, wait, that's Nick.
Wait,
I'm so glad Andy was there because I
Did Joey
started
not go?
I started doing the thing where I was trying to make friends. Like I don't like seeing movies by myself, so I started doing the thing where I started trying to make friends with people next to me.
I hate
And they were
when
like
you do
not
it. So
having it. I was like, is it loud? No, okay, I'll be over here. I'm just gonna sit here on this.
With my Snickers bites.
Dude, there was a legit conversation between Jen and I. Like, what do we do? Like, what do we do? I gotta see this for work somewhere. We can leave and book a non-Dolby show. I don't know.
God, it was brutal. It was brutal.
But anyways, we watched Aladdin yesterday. Let's start off with a couple of the facts here. Aladdin 2019, released on May 24th, 2019, directed by Guy Ritchie.
Guy Ritchie doing Aladdin.
You might know him from Snatch,
Yeah.
Revolver,
Snatch is
or
good.
both of the Sherlock Holmes
He married
movies.
Madonna at one point, right?
He did.
Yeah.
He was married to Madonna for a while. To the best of my knowledge, they are no longer together.
He did the King Arthur movie.
He
too.
did, which I liked.
So we all went to go see with
Charlie-
for Yusuf's
Charlie,
birthday.
yeah.
I
It was-
didn't like it.
You didn't like
see
it?
it.
It was Charlie Hunnam. I liked that. I thought his style it's interesting. This is the least Guy Ritchie
Yep.
movie I've ever seen
There was
him
only
do.
one sequence where it was like, oh, this is total like Guy Ritchie, where they're showing Aladdin and they cut to the palace and they cut back and it was like very like
I like
fast cut.
the parkour and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh, Guy Ritchie did this right. And it felt Guy Ritchie to me. Where I'm like, all right, cool. You're showing a different side to this that we
I
didn't
just
really
at
get
some
in the
point was
first.
expecting Aladdin or Jasmine to be like, well, here's what really happened, and go into like the
Yeah.
flashback sequence where everything's whip panning and going back.
Yeah.
2 minutes, Dickish. Anyway,
And also, if you haven't seen Sherlock Holmes, watch Sherlock Holmes.
It's a great movie, yeah.
Freaking
Both of them are good,
fantastic.
actually.
Still haven't seen
With
the second.
Pemberton and
I'm
Cumberbatch.
slacking
it's pretty good.
so hard,
It's pretty
man.
good.
It's good. Not as
Budget,
good as the first.
budget of $183 million and a box office so far, just from this weekend, of $234.7 million. That's
a lot.
Which is a lot of money, puts it at already half the lifetime of the first Aladdin, which, if you remember from last week, was the #1 movie of 1992. Things have changed, obviously,
Inflation.
but that's still pretty damn
Inflation.
impressive.
I was gonna say the same.
Jesus Christ.
What did I say?
time?
9/11, you fucking monster.
I said it. He was going to say it.
Oh, so that makes it worse for him.
Are we gonna sit here?
I said it. He was gonna though.
Are we going to sit here and act like 9/11 didn't change everything?
I was.
Are you really
going
gonna
to
say that?
I don't know.
What is wrong
I don't
with
know what
you?
we're talking about anymore.
I was gonna say
I had Snickers bites. Snickers bites.
I was gonna say the Titanic, but
yeah.
different time.
Andy, how long? Real talk though. Total non sequitur. How long did it take you to get through that gigantic bag of Skittles that you bought?
I didn't finish anything.
It started making me sick after a while.
Yeah, now, there was a time
Don't
where
do
Nick,
that,
Nick
yeah.
kept saying, "Get these away from me," and then finally, like, I was like, "All right, I think I'm done with the skills. I'm gonna put them away." And I was like, "One more," and he's like, "No. All right, yeah." And like,
And
waiting
I
for
almost
an extra
threw
little
up.
bite. Yeah,
You can't, it turns out you can only eat like a certain amount of Skittles before your mouth goes numb.
Yeah.
I
That's
found
fucking
this out
terrible.
with the
Yeah.
mini Starburst that they had.
Oh, yeah.
I was begging people by the end of the movie to be
Just
like,
take 'em.
just take them.
Like
Please,
Nick
just
with
take them
the
and throw
Greg
them
with
out.
The peanuts.
Yeah.
Not the problem I had with the peanut M&Ms though that I fucking housed during John Wick Parabellum,
Yeah.
which was a whole
Popcorn.
other
I
story.
didn't finish all of though.
See, now I had a heartbreaking tale, right? Because I did a double feature last night. So we got there
you
for...
saw Brightburn
We got
afterward,
there
right?
for Aladdin. Yeah, I did. Got there for Aladdin. Got in
you
line.
like
Just
Brightburn?
wanted water. I did. Can I come on Screencast and talk about it? this
Yeah,
week?
absolutely.
Cool. Got the water. Got in the AMC Stubbs A-list whatever line, right? It's good. Speedy. Got there. Got my water. Nobody else was in line. It was great. We went and saw the movie. Then we went and got drunk. And then we came back to watch Brightburn. And then it was like, now we want some fucking popcorn.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I'm
popcorn
gonna get some. Candy. Time to pop it up. The Stubbs line was so long,
Gotta
and
soak
we
up
were
the
already
beer.
late for the movie. We had to bail and just go.
You got
Even
like
the
20 or
Stubbs
30
line was
minutes
long?
more.
That was the line. Yeah. Yeah. The Stubbs line was super long. What'd you say?
I said you had like 20 or 30 minutes more of previews.
It wasn't that bad, and then I also got to see the Annabelle Comes Home trailer, which I thought looked nice.
Okay.
I like the
scary.
Conjuring universe.
Yeah, no, thank you. No, thank you.
Trailers are a standard 20 minutes at AMC, just for everyone to
Oh,
know.
thank you. That's helpful.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Andy, I'm gonna text you at some point because you'll need to remind me about that.
Okay.
That's like legit like 10 trailers.
It's a lot.
God, it's a lot.
it is a
especially
lot.
when they're coming, you're fucking. It's some kind of like they're trying to punish you. I was like, please God, just show me the Disney logo.
I was like, this is what I actually thought. I was like, I hope Kevin can't see me right now because I'm thinking about covering my ears and I do not want the old fogey fucking shit that's gonna come out of Kevin's mouth. It's like it's so loud, but I can't show weakness
Yeah,
to
but the
Kevin.
old fogey thing would have been like, can you bring it up a little bit louder for me?
My concern
No,
was
either
we
one.
were
You
back
go
in
either
like
way.
row
Like, it's
F.
too loud.
We were E.
That was the farthest I'd ever been. Usually when we've seen other stuff,
The
with you guys
farthest
is up
doesn't
front.
change. It's loud everywhere.
But that was my concern of like, God, am I under a speed We're looking around like, why is no one else hurt?
So bad.
I tell you what,
So
if I can
loud.
get those seats every time, those are perfect.
Those are great.
Like,
I had the perfect seat.
Yeah.
I was smack dab in the middle of the theater. It was great.
I was F, F middle, and it was great.
Going around the table,
Yeah.
what are our thoughts on Aladdin, the live action movie?
34 minutes later, we started talking
Now
about
the
the
popcorn was pretty.
Andy, what'd you think?
I liked it. I kind of went in not expecting to like it, just based on what we'd seen in the trailers. I thought, man, this is going to be another like Will Smith can't catch a break, dude. Even in a live action movie, he's gonna just be the butt of the joke. I enjoyed like a lot of it. I'd say it's like, if I were to put a number on it, like 7 out of 10, maybe 6.8 out of 10. I was super stoked with it. I walked out really happy. A lot of the musical numbers got me emotional. A couple of the music numbers I thought weren't as good as they could have been. I didn't really like the one jump ahead of the Brand Line music. Like, the drums just didn't do it for me.
They added a lot of drums to
Yeah.
everything.
Overall, I was like really happy with it. I thought they did a great job.
I was shocked how much I liked Will Smith as Genie. I didn't expect him to like really bring it, and I think he did a stellar job.
Yeah.
To where it's like it's a different Genie, but it's got the same like heart, you know. Overall, I really liked it. I think out of all the remake movies, like or the live action remakes, this is my favorite so far. And for most of the song sequences, I enjoyed. I didn't like the speechless one so much, just because I felt like the setup for it was wrong, and it didn't make a lot of sense the way they, like. I
thought it was dope.
I wish she had done that like as she was walking out of the main room, not out of the like secondary room.
Did you like the song though?
Yeah, the song was cool. Very Frozen-esque kind of song.
Yeah.
Like
Very
cool,
modernized.
awesome ballad
Yeah.
song. So that was cool. But yeah, I mean, overall, I feel like the changes, like I think they did a good job. Yeah, I'd put it around the same thing, around a 7, if I had to rate it.
Greg Miller.
I liked it. Had a great time with it. I really liked Aladdin and Jasmine. I thought both their performances were great. Their chemistry was great. In general, just like from the moment Aladdin entered the picture and then the way they introduced Jasmine this time around, I like that they changed her character, right, and her narrative a bit in terms of what she, you know what I mean? Like,
A lot.
I like
They
that,
updated it very
Exactly.
much.
Giving a reason why she's not allowed out of the palace because of the mother. Okay, that's good. I like that they changed the Sultan not to be some bumbling, fat little baby child shaped like a turkey. You just want to eat him up. You know what I mean? I hate watching the cartoon going, like, I want to eat this man. He looks delicious.
Wrong with you?
Yeah, those fat little legs.
I liked and disliked Will Smith's Genie at different parts. For some reason, I thought, not for some reason, I didn't like visually when he was CG a lot.
I
There was
hated
a
it.
lot of times where I'm like, oof, that just doesn't look like the way it doesn't look real enough for me. But it didn't take me out of the film. It was whatever. He has his moments where I really loved him and stuff like that. I think anytime he tried to be Robin Williams, but when he had to say like the same lines and same stuff, that's when I was like, meh. Now granted, I just watched the animated one for this, so maybe that different. Like Jafar a lot too. I had a great time. I had a really good time with the movie. I enjoyed myself the whole way through.
Nick.
Even though it was pointed out on Twitter, and I didn't understand it when I saw the tweet because I hadn't seen the movie, but I watching the thing, Will Smith is just Hitch again.
Yeah.
It even
100%.
ends in a dance scene just like in Hitch. I was like, ah.
I kind of love that though because it made Will Smith's Genie different. I felt like this Genie was way more of a hype man the entire time, and
Sure.
that fit the hip hop aesthetic
Sure.
of Will Smith a lot. I love that stuff. Nick.
I was surprised how much I liked it. Having said that, I didn't love it. I liked a lot of I liked the movie. I did not like the musical elements of this. I always feel like these live action movies, like when they start singing, I'm like, oh right, there's music in this. It just kind of doesn't work for me. I feel like all the musical numbers, the arrangements, I did not like. I didn't love they shoehorned drums into stuff. I didn't like that they felt they needed to update it and make everything bigger. I just didn't think it really fit because the aesthetics were very, very small. Like that's the one thing I really walked out of this movie wanting a little more of was the sense of grandeur that we got toward the end of the original animated movie, where like there's this giant throne room and this big monument to Jafar's ego, and we didn't get really any of that. The end of this movie happens near a fountain. And that's the bit. I mean, it was cool. It was a fountain made of snakes, and I was like, any minute those snakes are going to come alive, and they didn't, and that was weird. Dialing it back to things I did like. I really liked Aladdin and Jasmine. I thought the casting was great, and I actually was surprised how much I liked Will Smith. But I loved Will Smith when he was Will Smith, when he was the giant blue Slimer, like Jack Slimer. I was like, this is weird, uncanny valley territory, and I don't like it at all. I wish they had just let him do the little cherry on top Will Smith a little bit more, because I remembered about an hour into the movie how much I fucking love Will Smith in a comedic role as like in a silly kind of buddy cop, and it made me just super jacked for Bad Boys 3.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I thought it was great. I wouldn't say I loved it, but I thought it was my favorite of the live action Disney adaptations by far. I think that the story is better than the original movie. The characters are all better than the original movie.
I think it's a better, far better movie than the original. As a musical, I have my criticisms of them not using that genre. I think they made a movie with musical elements. I don't think they made a musical with story elements. And that's my biggest, it's really my only disappointment here, is that you think about movies like La La Land, where they were like, we're going to approach this as a musical and then tell a story using the musical genre. This, they were like, we just got to get to A Whole New World and then we'll show that. But I don't know. I feel like there was almost two movies in one, where like, if they had taken out all the music, I would love to rewatch this movie again, because I actually liked those moments more, I think, than the musical moments.
I really enjoy the musical moments. I don't think that any of them are better than the original versions,
No.
but we've also listened to the original versions for 20 years.
That's the hardest thing, is like, I would love to see, it's so hard not to bring nostalgia into this, right? It's so hard not to compare it to the Whole New World that I've seen a billion times that we just watched last week. And so I don't know that, it's hard not to be a bit jaded when you see an updated version of it and go, oh, it's not how I remember it, and I want to sing along with this. I think they had some really fun moments, like when they did the Prince Ali moment, where he's like, come on, we got to get you, and they hold that
really
note.
good.
I was like, okay, they're having some fun with this. But I mean, that sequence right there, I just remember being so much bigger in the animated movie, and then you see it here, and it's in this little tiny space where it's just going back laterally.
Ali?
Yeah.
I thought Prince Ali was a great
I
musical
thought-
number
yeah.
that showed the.
I wanted it to be like way bigger than that, and it was shot very flat, and I don't know. It just didn't really. I didn't think they had enough fun with the musical elements of this to really kind of sell that. But sorry, to bring it back into the positive, if this was my child's first version of Aladdin, I'd be like, okay, I'm okay with that. Like, it was a good version. And I think that it was serviceable at points, but the story itself, I actually liked.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I thought the characters were all improvements on the original characters in terms of depth, in terms of their motivations. Loved what they did with Jasmine. Love her being Sultan at the end. Like, all of that makes sense. I feel like the genie's motivations for wanting to be free, it was more than that. It was wanting to be human.
That was
and
cool.
I thought they did a good job with all of that. I thought that Jafar was awesome.
I thought he was great.
And his backstory and like the elements they had to him,
I
made
thought
it so much
It
better.
was so much more political. It
Yeah,
was kind of cool.
all of that
They-
stuff was great.
It was really cool because there was actually a duality between him and Aladdin, which I really like. He was
yeah.
like, I am you, but I'm just more ambitious than you. And then when
great.
you see Aladdin getting more ambitious, like, I love all that stuff where he's like, you're not the man. Oh, that's the man right there. That's the guy that's like wanting power and wanting this. And he's like, yep, that's him, as they walk out.
Yeah, I thought the genie was great. Will Smith was awesome. I felt like he was weakest when he was singing, because he's just not a singer. And they relied a little too much on, especially in the beginning of the movie, with him doing the whole Arabian Nights song. They made that song way too long for his voice being at the levels that it is in terms of singing. Because anytime he was doing the more like, I'm Will Smith, rap, ha 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 ha, awesome. Loved that shit the entire time. I liked the focus of the drums because it gave it a more hip hop vibe, which I definitely think was the intentions with Will Smith.
I just think I just think like that's one too many elements to throw into this. Like, for a movie that's set in a period of time in a specific like culture, having another element of hip hop on top of the orchestral symphonic stuff was just too much for me.
See, but they used all the drums and stuff that were from that culture and stuff. And I've been listening to the soundtrack all last night and all today, and it's like, I think that it's different, not worse. It's just we're so used to that other stuff that I think that they had a consistent theme with it throughout the entire score
Right.
that I really appreciated.
I think they have a knack for throwing a lot of stuff into these movies. Like, it was a criticism I had of Beauty and the Beast, where I was like, why is this longer than the original? Why are there more songs, especially when Emma Watson can't sing? And I think they just have a bad habit of just kind of piling more shit on, where like, I like, for instance, the first song, not the Arabian Nights song, but One Jump. I was like, this is just weird. It just did not work for me at all.
And I think it's because it's different, though. I really do think it's
No, I
because
just think it just didn't fit the visuals and like the vibe of what was happening up until that point.
I feel like when that happened, that was my first moment of like, oh shit, like this is very similar to what I remember watching last week, where it's like the way it was choreographed and the music, like it was different, but like I thought that they had done a good job translating it to real life.
I like how the plot, even for that, like subverted expectations of not having it happen immediately. I was kind of bummed where I'm like, oh fuck, are they not going to do my favorite song?
Yeah.
And then not introducing Jasmine as the princess till later. It's a lot of the criticisms we had last week were addressed in this, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I like that she had been. That was one of the things I really liked, was that we see her and she's already sneaking out, and it wasn't this is my first time ever. It was like, I've been doing this. I sneak out a lot. I got to get the fuck out of this palace. Like, I'm a lot more independent of a person than she was in the original one, which I really liked. And I liked how the story moved a lot faster because they were able to then add more elements in without it feeling necessarily longer than it needed to be.
I feel like everything they added, as opposed to Beauty and the Beast, where they added a bunch of shit that didn't need to be there, everything they added here, and the runtime was about 30 minutes longer.
Yeah.
I think it all serviced the story. It's starting with Will Smith with the family and all that.
Yeah.
It's cool, confirming the theories of the peddler from the first movie being the genie in one movie, which is
I like that.
nice.
And I like that they brought it back at the end where it's like, oh, we're gonna get a boat. I was like, oh, that's cute. That's cute.
Go for it.
I didn't like that he just becomes human at the end. Like that broke my heart.
I love it.
No,
That's what he wanted, Kevin.
Yeah.
That's not what he wanted. He wanted to be free, not just a normal person like you or
Like a
me or
normie.
Andy.
Well, in this one, you want to be human.
I
And
know.
I feel like that did add to the character a lot.
Yeah.
Since we're talking a lot about the music, Alan Menken was brought in to compose the score for the film, who did the original score for the first one. So it was very much, he did an interview where he was like, I don't just want to do the exact same thing again. I want it to have a different flavor where the songs feel entirely different. I want to change the lyrics up to make sure that you're not just getting the exact same thing, so you're comparing it, back to back. So for lyrics, they brought in Pasek and Paul, who did La La Land and all that.
Really?
So the new song, Speechless, entirely written by them. And anytime they had changed up
great.
lyrics, it was them. And the thing that blew my goddamn mind, and I realized it like when I got the soundtrack, every single song is sang by either Naomi Scott, Mena Massoud, or Will Smith.
Really? So,
Yeah.
so Naomi Scott actually sings that
Sang
well.
all of it.
Good for them.
And on top of that, a lot of the songs were sung live on set.
So that was, I noticed that. And there were moments where, so when that wasn't the case, it really stuck out. But those songs where they actually were singing, like there's a song where I think it's like Naomi Scott's first song that she sings. I can't remember which one it was.
It's the first
Speechless,
version of Speechless.
part one.
Yeah, fucking great. Fucking great.
And
They
that
need to do
was
that. They
live.
need to do that more. They need to and that was one of the things I really loved about
Star Is Born.
The Star Is Born, which is that they actually sang live. You're like, oh, I'm in this now. Versus Will Smith's first song where he starts singing as he's coming down and the lips don't quite match and it's not really working. It's his voice, but he's not singing it really. I don't know.
The lips,
They kind of
not
went back and
matching,
auto-tuned it a little bit.
didn't ever catch my eye, but it's more just doesn't feel right. It
Yeah.
feels like the song is playing in a world that
Yeah.
we're not actually seeing.
Yeah, it doesn't
And
draw you in.
There was an effect that was used throughout this movie that was very bizarre, and I don't know exactly what was off about it, but I feel like the frame rate of things was weird, where they did a lot of speeding up, and it was really clear for the dance scenes. And Friend Like Me, it was fine because that was magical, but then the scenes that weren't magical, it still had it.
Well,
And
there's also a lot of stuff they did in this that I didn't love, from the cinematography standpoint, where a lot of the stuff was shot with deep focus, which made it look weird and not like a movie. A lot of the CG was a lot of the CG felt flat because he was small. They did a lot of weird shit visually in this
Yeah.
that I thought that didn't necessarily mesh well, and that's I guess where my brain kind of went off a little bit. Was I was like, the visuals and the music and the dancing and the style are not meshing together for some reason for me. And it didn't necessarily ruin the movie for me. Like I said, I actually was surprised that after 2 hours I was like, oh, I enjoyed that. That was interesting. But I just don't think the sum of all the parts equaled something greater than the sum of the parts. You know what I mean? I think that all the elements were there, and you're like, I guess I'll just take a la carte. I'll choose to like this. I'll choose to like this. But everything else, it didn't come together to 100% like I wanted it to.
There was one shot that I remember that showed the palace, and it was weirdly it was a tilt shift shot, and it's it's not a real palace, so it's an artificial tilt shift, and that was the one moment where I was like, oh, this seems really unnecessary.
This movie didn't get going for me until after One Jump. That I think after the one jump sequence, I'm not sure what followed that, but I think the whole moment with them, with him and Jasmine talking to each other in his little house or whatever, that's where the movie started getting really good for me, because I I think I hated One Jump being halftime, sort of like I want that driving dun 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 dun, but it was like dun 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 dun, and it just didn't do it for me. I want like that fast pace. I'm running from the
I love that song
authorities.
so
It just
much.
didn't do it for me. But
Yeah, I think-
everything after that, I was like, wow, I can't believe I'm really into this right now.
Yeah, I think I also wanted like I don't know. There was like I liked the guy that played Aladdin. I think he played it a lot more straightforward. I wanted him to be a little bit more cavalier, like that's one of the elements that I was thought was lacking that was present in the '92 version. Was like he was a little bit more of a rogue, and I liked that. In this, he felt really, really sweethearted the entire time, and I kind of wanted him to be a little more cocky. With like the One Jump, he was having fun getting away from the people, and this, I don't know. It just, I think they were like, we're gonna make it more parkour, and we're gonna make it more.
I loved the parkour because in the first movie we just got parkour in the One Jump Ahead, and that was it. This throughout the entire movie, he's Prince of Persia. It was awesome.
Except when we had the CG version of it, which
was weird.
kind of weird. I was like,
It is
just
weird.
give us a real parkour. You can do
but,
that.
but him doing like the real parkour shit was awesome. But the scene at night where he's breaking into the castle,
Yeah.
I'm like, this is so cool, and it adds so much to his character. And him seeing Jasmine and all the times that they flirt and he steals the bracelet and stuff, I'm like, wow, I love these two together. I loved him as the actor Mena. Like I thought he did a great Aladdin. And this goes back to me where seeing these trailers, I was so down on this movie. Seeing the clip of Prince Ali, I was like, holy crap, this is gonna be a train wreck. Will Smith's gonna ruin this. A lot of this is bad. I was wrong about all of that.
Yeah.
Jafar's too hot.
Yeah.
Aladdin.
He is too hot.
Aladdin's not talking for a reason. He's not gonna be Aladdin. All of that was wrong.
Yeah.
I thought all of that stuff was really, really well done. But I still stand by. I just don't like the look of these CG movies. Like it's a little too gritty and real.
Yeah, it's too fun.
And
It's
like,
it's not fun enough.
Yeah.
It's just like
I think this
a lot of this
movie-
stuff was dark and
It's
it's just
all dark.
and tonally it's just so weird because then they break into this big song and you're like, it just doesn't work. That's what I'm saying. I can't really put it to words, but I think that kind of like the visuals don't necessarily fit the vibe of what they're going for, and it kind of takes me out a little bit.
I feel like they've had this issue with the CG for their live action movies the entire time where looking at Beauty and the Beast, taking the characters, taking the like all the appliances and the candle and the clock and all that stuff, they make it look way too twisted and
Oh yeah, fucked up. It's like the problem with the original Transformers, where you look at it
exactly.
and you're like, why is there so much detail to this?
And I don't
it's a
like
fucking
that.
talking clock.
And the problem is with Aladdin, when characters like Abu are such a focus, and you're supposed to be able to see their like their face
It's
kind
uncanny
of
valley stuff,
contort and change to show emotion. I feel you totally lose that when it's CG, and it takes away him being a fun character. And then he's just
And
like,
see-
oh, you're a real monkey.
Yeah, and see and do you know what they did with this one? That was one of the bigger character changes. That Iago is not really he wasn't the comedic relief anymore.
Yeah.
They were like, well, we can't really make the parrot hilarious too, so let's just make him a straightforward like evil parrot.
Let me drop some shit on you about
for it.
Iago. Do you guys know who voiced Iago?
Mark
Oliver
Hamill.
Stone.
Gilbert Gottfried.
Christopher Walken.
Alan Tudyk.
Oh, wow.
Alan Tudyk voiced
John Oliver's who I meant. in Oliver
the
Stone.
Duke in Disney's Frozen in 2013. In 2014, he was
K2.
the bad guy in Big Hero 6. In 2016, he was Duke Weaselton and Hi, the little chicken in Moana. Oh, no, sorry.
Hey.
Sorry, Hey in Zootopia and Moana. And then that year, he was K2SO in Rogue One. Then he came back to be a character in Ralph Breaks the Internet, and then he's Iago in Aladdin. So he's just all over these like
Shout out
little
to Alan
side
Tudyk.
villain characters. Shout out to him.
So, wait, did you guys not like Abu? Because I was gonna say shout outs to because I feel like they
Hated
did.
him.
Really?
Yeah, I thought Abu was like the least cool part of the movie because of everything I just said.
Yeah, I didn't hate him. It's just
was
hard
fine.
to nail the silliness of like, and that's why I really think that the animated medium really starts to kind of stand out over these live actions.
That's what makes
because
me worried about
you
Lion
can-
King,
Yeah,
too.
and that's the thing. You can make them larger than life and exaggerated movements, and you use those classic techniques that they have in animation to really sell the sort of the sort of amazement factor of the movies, right? Like you can have. There's that great moment in the animated movie where he goes, phenomenal cosmic powers, and they show him fucking gigantic and then bring it back down, and you can't. It just doesn't translate that well to the live action. So you have to kind of mute it down a little bit, and that's what we got here.
Something I want to give this movie a lot of credit for, though, is there are moments of giant spectacle that I feel like they nailed, specifically with Friend Like Me. Where
That was the only moment,
but
though.
I Prince Ali, I would argue too. But like, let me say this for a second before interrupting me. I feel like Friend Like Me had a really, really good sense of scale and using Will Smith's live genie in ways that were in homage to the original one, but weren't directly just having him like turn his face into a bunch of different characters the entire time. It did that, but then it also did the thing where it cut to them watching the rewind to see what happened. Like, I think they did a lot of really cool stuff with that, and the song was epic. The song you felt it making him dance like a puppet. I loved all that stuff, and it was in direct contrast to Beauty and the Beast, where Be Our Guest is that triumphant epic moment, and it felt like it just fell flat, and it didn't have any sense of hype or magic going on. And I'm worried about Lion King because Just Can't Wait to Be King, to me, is that song. And seeing Simba with the colors and the animals going by and like him having
You're not going to get that Lion King. We've already
as,
seen the palette of Lion King and it's very muted.
I mean, we haven't seen much of Lion King right now. So it's like that scene,
trailers.
I'm hoping we see it be this grand, crazy thing and like fun. And I don't think we're going to because it's so realistic.
You know what these movies remind me of? And this is going to, maybe I'm crazy. They remind me of the moments in The Mask with Jim Carrey where he dances and it's really fucked up and twisted. That's what I keep getting vibes of whenever I see these people. Like that Prince Ali, when he starts dancing, I'm like, this is, if I were a kid, I might actually be scared of this.
No.
Because it's this giant blue guy like doing all sorts of weird shit. It just doesn't play as fun. It kind of plays as, like you said, twisted. It's kind of weird. I don't know.
I liked
it.
I like the Aladdin versions of it. I did not like it in Beauty and the Beast, and I'm worried about Lion King because of that.
Yeah, in Beauty and the Beast, like they went with a way toned down version of it. But I think that they, in Aladdin, especially the Prince Ali, like it didn't seem toned down. I was like, oh, this to me strikes very similar to the animated, but just done in real life. And that's, like, could they have gone further? Yeah, but like, I think that they chose a good middle ground to make it still seem realistic.
I agree, and I feel like the clip that they released last week of it was just the intro before like shit started going down, and also there was a lot of CG that wasn't in that clip. I feel like the marketing for this did a real disservice because so much of the shit they should not have shown Will Smith blue that early because it looked way worse than it did in the movie. Didn't look great in the movie.
But I don't think that it's affecting their numbers. 200 million in the first weekend is very good.
Not from the reaction of people I thought in the theaters. People around me were literally like, "This is amazing. This is great." People were clapping. The couple next to me was like cheering the entire time. And I guess I'm just not that big of an Aladdin fan, but it's...
I think that you just watched Aladdin 92 and like now you're comparing it to that.
That's a good portion of probably why I wasn't as hyped for this. Granted, I just seen it the movie prior, but
I was shocked by how little of I wasn't super offended by Will Smith in the blue genie look. I thought it was fine for the most part. I was expecting to be like cringing a lot, but I actually thought it was pretty cool.
It's an unrealistic character that they have to now bring into the real world. Like in the animated version, he's this huge person,
solid blue thing.
Yeah, exactly. That doesn't really have like, he's got like pecs, but like he's not a defined shape. And I liked their like them going with like this being this really buff guy, and like I just thought that like that looked good, and there were a lot of shots where I was like, oh, I feel like this is composited well too.
I think there was. I think those were some of the most cringier parts for me. Like that's the thing. The movie was. I think it had a lot of great stuff going on, but there were one or two moments where I was like, ugh. And most of it was when Will Smith's face wasn't necessarily attached to his body. I was like, why do they do this so much? You have fucking Will Smith, just put him in the scene and let him out. Let him be blue for like 5 seconds and then be like, hold on, I got to blend in more. And then that's the thing. Then he's blue maybe like 5% of the time. The rest of the time, just let him be Will Smith. Because he's so much, those scenes where he's actually Will Smith with other people were great. At the fucking end, when he's normal again and almost cries, and Andy and I were riding home, he was like, it was like Pursuit of Happiness where he gets the job. I was like, fuck, he's such a good actor.
He's great.
Why would you put him behind all that CG? I don't know.
I mean, I think if they had done that, we would have all been sitting here and been like, I guess they didn't have the budget to have him blue all the time,
No, I would have been like, I love this, and every kid that watched it would have been bored. I mean, it's a kid's movie. That's why they did it. You got to have a giant blue guy. He's a genie. I get it.
And on that front, I think it's a good kid's movie, If you got a kid,
I think it's a
take
good
him to see
movie,
him.
period.
Yeah.
But I think, and because of all the improvements they made to the story, the one story thing that I was a little let down by is when they started making all the changes, I was like, oh, wow, they're really fixing all the criticisms I had. I still don't like that his second wish is used when he's underwater and it's not officially
a wish.
Especially what bothers me is that this movie doubled down on the rules in a way that the first one didn't. And I'm like, you're saying that he has to rub the lamp, he has to say it to you, and that now he just signs a contract underwater.
Yeah, they for some reason changed the dialogue of getting him out of the cave to make it more convoluted.
Yeah, why wouldn't they?
Where he actually wishes for, I wish for you to get me out of the cave. And in the first one, remember, he goes, oh, you're such a big genie. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I hear you. I agree with you. But it was the act of Will was like you have to rub the lamp and then say I wish. So he didn't rub the lamp. So that was the loophole.
Yeah.
around it
That
this time.
wasn't clear for me, and I thought
Even when they rewound it, I was with you of like I get what you're doing. It's not clear.
it's not clear.
There's no reason they should have made that more complicated,
Yeah.
but I don't understand why they did that. I don't think it makes any sense.
I think they wanted to change it a little bit just
but
for
then
change
they
And also,
sake.
I
also
don't
changed
think
the
that-
second scene.
I don't know. Did they want Will Smith's genie to be that boastful? I guess right because they're kind of using even cranking that up more for Jafar, right? Of not being number 2 in the room, maybe.
But that moment was such a great character moment for Aladdin. That's the moment we learn that he can outsmart people.
Street
That
smarts,
is that
right.
he's a
Street
street
rat,
smart
street
guy,
smarts.
right? And that's mirrored at the very very end where he goes, "I'm going to use the thing that's inherently
true.
me to beat the bad guy,
Yeah,
which is I'm going to outsmart this guy. I don't have money, I don't have power, I don't have fame. I'm smart." And so like we didn't really get that in this.
And that was the one change that I didn't like to the story because it bit us in the ass twice, where it was there and at the end with Jafar when he makes his final wish to be the all-powerful genie, except he doesn't.
No, I want to
He
be the
says,
most powerful being in the universe.
And then the genie's like, there's a lot of gray area there. I'm like, wow, you made a change that made this less clear.
Yeah, less
and
clear.
not
All he
one
needed
for
to say
one.
was, "I wish to be a genie." Like that's what he says in the original. I want the power of the genie or whatever it was.
The most powerful genie, an all-powerful genie.
And he goes, "Cool, yeah." So those were too dumb.
Bad
I
call.
didn't like that they kind of gloss over all the setup for the Cave of Wonders, which you're just sort of expected.
did.
But that's because you know it. If you came into that movie not knowing Aladdin, if you were a kid, I'd be like, "What? What's the diamond in the rough thing? I don't understand it. How come the guy can't go into the cave? Why is everyone?" It's like a montage at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
They
See,
needed.
I was
that needed to be
okay
a
with
scene.
it because you didn't need to know the setup until Aladdin goes in. You just see this guy gets killed.
But
and
even
then
when
Jafar's
Aladdin goes
upset.
in, they don't take a moment to tell you, "Hey, you're the chosen one who can go into this." You just hear the cave kind of grumble underneath music, "Diamond in the rough,"
Well,
and you're
Iago
supposed to
also
understand
makes
what that
mention
is.
of it. Iago mentions a couple times like we
He
found
just
the
says,
diamond in the rough.
"Diamond in the rough," but you need a character. You
Nailed that.
have to understand if you were a kid or someone never seeing Aladdin, you'd be like, "I don't understand why people can't just go into the cave."
But see-
what does "Diamond in the rough" mean? What does that mean?
To me, that doesn't matter. It's more about just get the thing. Don't take any of the other stuff. It's like that's what matters to kids. Like what matters is what is the mission? What is the goal here? I love that they cut the Jafar stuff of him being in the cell with them because that
Oh, I
didn't
love
make
that.
sense.
That makes sense.
I love that.
It's
I like
let's
that.
Just get to it.
I was a little bummed. Well, I was a little bummed that they cut the moment where he was supposedly has to have killed Aladdin, because I thought that was a great Jasmine character moment where that was the moment where she realized she was in love with him, and so we never really got that.
but
It
we
wasn't-
got that in a different way.
We did. It just wasn't. I just like that moment where she realizes, and that's also in the animated movie, the first time she stands up for herself. It's the first time she goes, "You fucked up, and I'm going to take you on,
Yeah,
Jafar."
in the
And that
future.
that puts her directly at odds with him, which is why he has to take her out at the end of the movie. And we didn't really get that. We got a lot of her standing up for herself just in general, which I thought was good, and then punctuated nicely by the song at the end, where she's like, "No, fuck it, this is who I am."
I
I'm gonna be
loved
this
her getting a
person."
song. I hated Jafar not having a song. I'm like, damn it. Not only did they not give Jafar a song, they took his Prince Ali reprise where it was so badass, where he like transforms him and like tells the truth of what's happening. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, damn it.
Yeah, the ending moments, I didn't love the third act.
The
of this.
moment that the Sultan, the Handmaiden, and Jasmine got pulled up into Kingdom Hearts crisis, like
Yeah.
cryo freeze, I'm like, what is happening?
I wish they had done that more like the old one, where they each got their own specific thing, and it just felt a little rushed.
I was
Yeah.
really
Where
worried.
she's in the hourglass, he's the puppet,
Yeah.
the carpet gets unraveled, all that stuff. But that was fun, and they just didn't have a lot of fun with the magic in this.
I guess
was-
it would be a lot scarier with like actual people. Like if she was sitting in a giant thing getting covered in sand.
Who cares? Do it.
Little kids, dude, they get scared easy.
I was worried about Jasmine's song because I was thinking like you go to a concert to see your favorite band and they play that one song that nobody really, or like we got a new song for you. You're like, oh,
No, no,
fuck,
that
this
was-
is
That was
kinda
Beauty
weird.
and the Beast.
Oh, really?
It
yeah.
had that
I was
problem.
worried about this Jasmine song, and
It fits.
The first moment that she sang it, it was over super fast because it was only like 2 verses. It was like a verse and a chorus, and that's it. And my first thought was like, God damn, I wish that was longer. That was so good. And I'm so glad that it was like in that reprise where like people are getting Thanos dusted. It was so
That
cool.
part I
really-
didn't like.
So
I
here's the
really
thing.
like it.
I like this song a lot, but
I
like
agree with
the whole
both of you.
Thanos dressing out, I did a moment even where I was like, "Is
What's
this really happening? Is this
Yeah, like the song is so
that
good.
was in her
I
head,
knew she
right?
was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I knew. I mean, everything was. The fire was in slow motion. The drape gets like it's like floating and
Yeah.
shit. I could tell this is all like a dream
But
sequence.
I do think it's interesting that this song is about like speaking up and then what she does from there is tell the guard to like stand down. Like I wish she had been more authoritative about it.
Well, I
I
think she was
also-
being a good leader, though.
yeah,
Yeah.
she
Yeah,
was
but-
being the Sultan."
But I didn't love how they got her there. Like I thought that was a little cheap, where the guy's like, "I'm Sultan now," and the guard's like, Okay,
Yeah,
I guess you're
that-
Sultan now, which is like, wait a minute, you're supposed to be super loyal. You're supposed to die for your Sultan. Like, you're a guard that's supposed to be so loyal. You've been loyal since you were a kid. They've known him since he was a kid, and you're just gonna go, I guess this guy's Sultan now.
My one thing about that though was I thought it was covered well with genie magic from the beginning, where he's like, "Oh, they won't see you because it's genie magic," and then him being like, "Well,
I see that,
eventually
okay.
your true character is going to break through."
Yeah.
So when she makes this Hail Mary to him of like, "You know who you are, we know who you are," and he's like, "You're right, I do know who I am." He's the Sultan.
And I'll buy that.
Yeah.
That's absolutely that's good. I just needed a little bit more visually to back that up, like maybe something in the eyes or something that felt like he was transfixed, because it just kind of read on screen where he was like, all right, cool, yeah, fuck
exactly,
it, I'll get this guy
yeah.
now. Oh, okay, no, you're right. Okay, we'll kill this guy. Like, it needed to be a little bit more of a magical moment for her.
I also
Just
like
wasn't set
the
up that
use
well.
of the staff. Like, I feel like they once again did a good job.
But he
bringing
didn't
that
use
to
the
real
staff
life.
ever.
He used it.
Yeah,
Never
He used the
to
staff.
good effect. He never really
He like convinced. Well, he was
For a
convincing
second.
For a second, yeah, that's right. But like that even happens in the animated movie.
No, in the animated movie, he convinced him to give him the
interrupted.
ring.
Huh?
He actually uses the staff for like to get the ring back to find the diamond in the rough. And this when he starts using it, every time he starts using it, someone just
Somebody
interrupts him,
interrupts, yeah.
and it's like, what the fuck is the point of having this? Like, yeah, it didn't. I get it, but it never had a payoff with the staff. And then when Aladdin cracks it, I was like,
fucking Sultan threw it over, and he's just like, no, I still got it.
Yeah.
Force. All right, man. Let's
know.
go. A couple fun little Easter eggs and stuff. Frank Welker, the voice of Megatron, once again did Abu and Cave of Wonders, which is cool.
we just do Daffy Duck.
A little bit, but
That was
that's
really
all
good.
Boo sounds like.
That's true.
And then Prince Anders, I don't know, the white guy,
Yeah.
played by Billy Magnuson, has a lot of Nordic Scandinavian influences. His accent is very over the top. It's kind of like a light reference to the Frozen world. So it's like
cool.
that could be
And
cool that they might be building this.
When we
universe.
started and we see this giant ship go by, and I was like, oh shit, is Tarzan's parents on there? Are like Frozen's parents on
if
there
they're
right
building
now?
the live action shit to actually have all the theories,
I don't think they are. They would start
be cool.
laying Easter eggs.
There was a Cinderella's castle. Carpet was making it with sand.
I saw that. That was cool.
Yeah.
And then he goes,
Yeah, he did the Disney
Over,
swoosh
yeah.
over.
That was
That's
cool.
cute.
On the map, when he was doing it, like when Aladdin's like, wait, where is
Fantasyland
Blah
or
blah.
whatever.
He's like drawing a land of Disneyland, which is great.
I like that.
And also there was like a lot of like references to the original art from the animated movie
that
of
was
Genie
cool.
and Aladdin
Yeah, yeah.
and stuff, which was dope. Genie's movie clothes were the same as his Broadway show. So that stuff's cool. That's all I got there.
It's actually watching this movie actually makes me want to see the Broadway show,
It's
because
cool.
I actually feel like this would translate better to a stage show than an actual live action movie.
I don't think it does.
Really?
Yeah.
The
You ever
Broadway
see-
show,
did you
how
ever see,
similar
like-
is it to Disney's show? The Broadway show, how similar is it to actually to Disney's?
to Disneyland,
Disneyland show.
It's a very pumped up version of it, but it is the same basic concept of it.
Man, when they
the
have the
fun
magic
genie.
carpet working, it's pretty cool.
Do we know, was there any Easter egg reference, nod to Robin Williams in there or anything?
I mean, I think just kind of Will's whole performance and all that. Before we keep going on, let me tell you that this episode is brought to you by Topps. Big news out of the trading card industry as two iconic brands, Topps and Marvel, have teamed up to launch Marvel Collect by Topps digital trading card app. The app boasts content from the entire Marvel universe, both classic and cinematic. It's a digital trading card app where you can collect and trade Marvel Universe digital trading cards, trading certain cards for even rarer ones. It's developed by Topps Digital, and this app has been what they've coined collector-based missions. These provide guidance and reward for what users are going to be doing daily, weekly, and as you continue to expand, these will be some of them will be on a longer term basis, all to earn currency in the app, which you can then use to open digital packs of cards. What's cool about this app is how expansive the content is, from Avengers to Guardians to X-Men, Jessica Jones, the list goes on. Also, in an age of we want it now, this digital aspect of collecting is cool because of the timely content. Like Captain Marvel comes out, there's content in the app. Avengers comes out, there's Avengers trailer cards. Spider-Man Far From Home around the corner, there will be sets to celebrate that too. They even have a program in the app called First Printing, where they mimic how comic book editions are printed based on demand. Saw it with a cool Hulk set and an X-Men set that they have. Just a very cool take on a classic hobby experience. You remember those limited editions, Greg?
How can I forget?
You ever collect cards? You ever do any of that?
Oh my gosh, you kidding me? I got some cards over there on my desk right now that I bought down there. Gremlins 2, Ghostbusters 2, and then Back to the Future 2.
That was a big baseball card.
There you go. This first edition, baby. What also stands out is the free-to-play ability of the app compared to just a straight-up paywall. There's daily login bonuses, and the introduction of missions really helps the free-to-play generate enough buying power to go after certain cards, which is cool to see. You can download Marvel Collect by Topps digital trading card app to start collecting and trading your favorite characters from across the Marvel universe, both classic and cinematic, with fans around the world. This app is free to play, and new cards release every day. Download now in the App Store or Google Play Store. Also, shout out to Quip. If you're looking for something to give your dad or celebrate your new graduate, get them a one-size-fits-all gift, like a new oral health routine with Quip. The guiding features make sticking a good habit simple, and signing them up for a subscription helps them save and refresh their brush on time. With the Quip electric toothbrush, you can show your thanks where it really counts. Other people's mouths. Sensitive sonic vibration for an effective clean that's gentle on your sensitive gums. There's a built-in 2-minute timer that pulses every 30 seconds to remind you when to switch sides and help you to clean your whole mouth evenly.
They know who we are.
That's good, right? Yeah. Let's call
I've been using it. Greg's been using it. Barrett's been using it.
Yeah.
I love it. We just traveled. It's so easy. I love the little travel case. It also doubles as a stand. It's sleek. It's sexy. It's cool. Brush heads are automatically delivered on a dentist recommended schedule every 3 months for just $5. A friendly reminder when it's time to refresh and to stay committed to your oral health. That's why we love Quip, and why over 1 million happy, healthy mouths do too. Quip starts at just $25. And if you go to getquip.com/KFMS right now, you can get your first refill pack for free. That's your first refill pack free at getquip.com/KFMS. You want to do a little wigging out action, Andy?
Is it a wig? I don't know. Wigging out with Scarpino.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Wigging Out with Scarpino. I'm Nick Scarpino, your host. Not actually, surprisingly, the one person that I thought was wearing a wig, Andy and I looked at afterward. I thought Aladdin's hair was a wig. It's not.
Great hair.
They actually, I guess they had just
Great
straightened
teeth.
it. And so it had sort of like a more like glued on look to it, but I thought it was really, really good.
He has very curly hair, and you could. I had a feeling that it wasn't a wig just based on the way the sides looked.
Yeah.
Because like back in the day, you could tell it was like formula. It was done with formula. Like it was straightened down with formula and stuff.
But you saw on the sides, it was still a little curly. He's got really curly hair.
But I could tell. I had a feeling. And you kind of leaned over and were like, this fucking wig, I can't take it.
I thought it was
and
at
I
first.
thought like, I don't think it's a wig.
What is wrong with you guys?
I loved Will Smith, though. I love that he actually did that, though. Like the top
wig?
knot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it was a bald. I think they just shaved his head and put the little thing on top of it, which is great. Will Smith's The Cherry?
That was
What are you
definitely
talking
a
about?
wig.
It was all long.
This show makes no sense.
No. So let me
glued
back
on
up.
there?
They
like
didn't
a
put
little
a
crazy
bald
glue?
cap on him. They legitimately shaved his head,
yeah,
which I
yeah.
thought was, I was like, good for you.
Got it.
Because that means the actor always has to walk around for like 3 weeks or 4 weeks.
I
with
thought you
a
were
shaved
trying to
head.
say that he grew his hair out to have that.
No.
And they shaved around
The
it.
little nugget was definitely
makes
glued
no
on. The little nugget was definitely glued. No, I didn't notice anything from a costume or wigging or wig standpoint.
What's a
Other
wigging hour?
than Aladdin's kind of hair was just a little bit weird for me, but that's understandable. They wanted it to be a little straighter than curlier. I think they should have left it curly though. I think it could
Were
have.
they born in labs? Now it's time to rank those.
It's all CG bullshit
Yeah.
abs.
No
Will Smith
Aladdin
didn't
abs.
No
have to
Aladdin
wear
abs, man. No
it's
Jasmine
bullshit.
abs. They changed the costumes. Gave him a little dress shirt underneath. You know what I mean?
That's nice.
Her, they just gave her a lot of different outfits to wear.
I will give them a shout out to all the detail and all of the like culturally. You really get a feeling that they're like, we really want to pay homage to the culture here. We don't want to like have anything crazy stand out. And I think that worked for it, honestly. Like
I love the dance sequence. We didn't really talk about. I mean, we talked about in general, just the dance sequence outside of even just the puppetry.
see, I like the dance sequences when they were doing more of a traditional style.
Sure.
But when they started mixing in hip hop and him flipping all of actually the flipping I guess might not be here or there contemporary, but like when they started doing the hip hop stuff, I was like, all right. But I will give a special shout
Here we
out
go.
to something we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah.
Which is the return of the most important element of any Will Smith movie.
Oh my God, how did we forget?
Will Smith doing the motherfucking
Finally.
theme song at
Dude,
the end.
When we got to Friend Like Me, I had a moment where I'm like, are they just gonna fucking do this? Are they about to drop a big Willie style track right now? And
They
they didn't.
did.
They didn't during Friend Like Me.
Right.
But then when the credits hit, like the credits start with
DJ
like them
Khaled.
dancing.
Yeah, he was like,
They're
DJ
dancing.
Khaled.
They should have had that for the dance scene though. Like what a weird choice to like have
Bring in
this,
DJ Khaled,
this
he's like-
post credit. Yeah, they should have.
That would've been
But
amazing.
to have
It wasn't post credit. It was pre-credits, right? 'Cause it was
whatever,
before-
you know
It
what I
was
mean.
the
credits.
Like post movie.
Yeah.
Like they had that scene of them all dancing like during the credits and stuff, and I'm like, that should have just been the Will Smith song, because then that ends and it's Will Smith rapping DJ Khaled, another one. It's like, what is
It
happening?
was-
This is amazing.
But that's the thing. I
really
just
good.
wasn't that. They didn't quite nail that. It wasn't that kind of movie where that would have been acceptable at the end.
Yeah, but it would have, because what we get instead, that just with a different
reprisal
song.
of something else. Yeah, I don't know.
Like-
but I do want to give a shout out to like, I don't care if it's good or bad. I just want every Will Smith movie to end with a Will Smith
needs
song
to.
version of some of the songs.
Dude, you gotta listen to the song. I was like bumping it today. I'm just like, this is too hot. They fucking did it.
I do
Is
think
it
that
hot?
I
Is
do
it
think
hot?
that some of the I do
Okay.
think that some of the hip hop sort of things in there are just part of current like Middle Eastern culture. I think that's like kind of what they're doing now.
but I get that.
Yeah.
And I understand that, listen, this is a movie. It's a fucking musical movie about a flying carpet and a genie. You can do whatever the hell you want in it. I just feel like there's, at any point, one too many elements in these things where, like, is it a period piece or is it hip hop? And that's where it starts to kind of throw me out of the reality of it, is they're like, well, we can just introduce kind of anything we want, like, in this, but it is a period piece. So it's kind of weird to have them break into, like, an 808 bass fucking moment where everyone's breaking it down.
I feel like they only did that with
but
the
I'm
genie,
sure
though.
it worked for 99% of the people there. I'm more of a traditionalist where I'm like, I just kind of wanted it to be more orchestral, like I remember it, because I think that would have fit the style and the aesthetic of the movie a little bit better. But they had fun with it, and it's cool, and most of the time it worked okay for me. So I'm not going to be overly critical of a movie about a guy that rubs a fucking lamp and gets 3 wishes.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the point of that?
I saw Rami tweet about it, about how like
Ismail?
Rami Ismail tweeted out about how the older version of Aladdin, it's dated. It has a lot of things that are like, culture just not great about it.
Yeah.
And he just said that this movie nailed so much of everything. Like everything in this movie was done really well. And it's got to be awesome to see so many people of color on screen. Similar to like when I went to go watch Coco, I was like, this is awesome. Like that's probably got a lot of people really happy about that. Yeah.
Down to little specific things, like in the original, he breaks bread to give to the orphans. In this, it's dates, because dates are a big thing over there. They drink tea throughout the movie. Tea's constantly referenced. It's like they made a lot of choices that were, to kind of back up all of that. In addition to the casting being as diverse as it was. It's interesting though, because there's a lot of think pieces going on. Of course, there's a lot of think pieces.
Sure. I mean, as well there should be, by the way, because all these are choices they made on purpose, rather, and it's to get people to think about this stuff, right? And for me personally, like going in and realizing like this is a distinctively different Aladdin movie than I remember, was fascinating to see to feel my reaction to that, of going, wow, I'm not seeing anyone necessarily that looks like me on screen, and then 20 minutes in not caring. Like being like, oh, whatever, it's a good movie. They're people. They're having fun. I'm in the reality of it. I'm in the culture of it. I don't necessarily need to see 50 white people running around for me to feel like I can enjoy this movie.
Something that I thought was really interesting about this, though, is that one of the think pieces was talking about how there's a rivalry between ownership of Aladdin and the Aladdin story, and how Indians see it as an Indian story and Middle Easterners see it as that type of story. And Agrabah isn't clear exactly what it is or where it is.
Yeah.
And so like that's kind of cool. But then going deeper into it, like apparently the original Aladdin folktale comes from China.
Interesting.
So it's like there's just like it's cool that there's a lot of this. I like that they took a direction and went with it. And of course, not everyone's going to be happy with everything, but I think that they really did a good job committing to the vision.
Looking at this and then thinking, wow, if we lived in a different time, if they had made this maybe 10 years ago, right? Maybe Jake Gyllenhaal would have been Aladdin.
Oh, absolutely.
And it would have been
Prince of
so
Persia.
fucking weird.
Yeah.
Like you look back at Prince of Persia and you're like, Gemma Arterton and fucking Jake Gyllenhaal were the 2 main characters in that. Didn't really work that well. It's kind of weird.
So for the casting for this
It would have
movie,
been Zac Efron.
Okay, how dare you? Though? That probably would have been fine. That boy can move.
when they announced that Billy Magnussen was going to be in this movie, like everyone was up in arms about it. But I feel like they did a good job of having just be this.
He's the Swedish
He
guy.
is
Yeah,
great,
be this
yeah.
other prince that's kind of a cameo and like
I don't
a
know who
joke,
that is.
really.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
either.
I know him from Game Night.
Yeah.
I remember him being in Game Night.
Oh,
He's been in a
that's
bunch
right.
of those like movies that are just kind of newer and
Yeah, Jen was like, he was a bad guy in something we watched too recently. I was like, I don't remember that.
he's a great actor. I really enjoy him. He's super over the top always. Kind of plays the asshole.
A little haiku and review action. 7 syllables.
7 syllables in the middle. You need 5 for the first and last line. If you're not poetic, no need to fret it. Haikus don't need to rhyme. Haiku in review. Haiku in review.
Everybody
You cut
now
off with the
stop.
last
Where are you
clap
at?
Where were
Greg,
those claps
you
going?
need to get your shit together.
You can go to patreon.com/kindafunny to get this show ad free, or if you're at the bronze level, you get to write in your haikus in reviews. Kevin Spears says, Will honors Robin. Where is my giant cobra? Which is really
Oh, I know. I was kind
I
of
thought
scared
it was going
about
to come
that,
out of the fucking fountain the entire time. Didn't
I was
happen.
kind of scared about that.
That whole
Jasmine,
scene
hot
was
as
changed
fuck.
too much.
Arvel says CGI textures are bad. Jafar uses Loki's staff. Jasmine is awesome. And Ignacio Rojas says too many problems. Too many problems.
Too many problems.
I got too many problems.
Too many problems. Need more than just a haiku. Just watch the original.
Wow, did not like it.
Ignacio Rojas taking it
Interesting
out.
coming out.
The hot
Shocker.
takes.
Negative comment from
It is cool seeing kind
Hey,
of
he's never
people's-
negative about Kind of Funny Games Daily.
It's cool seeing this movie actually be
Loves
kind
me.
of divisive between people, where the reviews seem a lot more negative than it seems anybody that I know that's seen it. Like Nick seems to be the most down on it, and even you didn't hate it.
Oh no, I mean I did not hate it. I found myself, I was surprised that I enjoyed it based off of some of the mixed reviews that I'd seen, but I understand the criticisms, and I think a lot of it comes from that it's just really hard to make a live action version of these movies and stick it across the board, and that's been a criticism I think we've kind of all had of these. Like when I watched The Jungle Book, I had issues with that. We all had some issues with Beauty and the Beast. I think they're figuring it out, but I just don't think they've nailed it yet. We haven't had the one shining oh, this is what it's going to be. It still feels like they're kind of cobbling a bunch of elements together and figuring it out.
I think
and
the
Guy
one
Ritchie
thing-
was an interesting choice for this.
I think the one thing they absolutely nailed for me was A Whole New World. I
Great.
think
I like that a
across
lot.
the board, the singing, the visuals, all of it, I thought they did a fantastic job, man. I was really happy
See,
about it.
I was a little disappointed with the visuals of this because in the original they go to different places, right? and this one they kind of just flew around.
Unrealistically fast. Like they go to Greece and China.
It's a magic
and,
carpet.
They would
right?
be flying
Like,
off the.
Yeah.
But it's a magic carpet, and they sent him to. I mean, that's not that argument doesn't hold up because they send him to the
the
fucking
end of the world.
and
And
the
I didn't
magic
like-
carpet gets back in 5 seconds.
I liked Holding World not going to all the places because of that, and then I hated that but then he flew back. Because
Well, I just thought, so when they went and they were sitting on the pagoda in China, and you were seeing that was a great moment for like just have colors and magic and like the fireworks going off.
yeah.
And in this, it was just so dark. Like they were like, oh look, like we see these people, and I'm like, but they're like we can barely see them. There's only, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. I think the color palette of this movie is suffering from the same issues that like the DC movies are, where you're like, why is it so fucking dark? Why is there no color in this?
I agree with that. I did like it though, the overall, but my only problem with it not being perfect was some of the lines that they said they didn't do, like the "Don't you dare close your eyes." I like in the animated one, like she's closing her eyes and he like has her open it. This kind of felt like what they were saying and what they were doing didn't feel
I see.
as one for one. But again, whatever. That's a minor criticism.
Also, I mean, it's unfortunately a victim of its own commentary here, is that she was more worldly in this one than she was in the animated movie. So when she's seeing the world, she's really seeing the world for the first time. Whereas the Jasmine we get in this one, like studied maps, knows different cultures, has been outside of the palace, like is her own independent
But she
person.
hadn't explored the world.
Sure, neither did he. But and we don't really explore the world because all we do is go around Agrabah, right? So like she'd seen all that because she's the fucking princess and she can see it all from her. It just didn't, like, the idea of, hey, I'm going to show you that we're going to explore this together came through, but it just didn't come through as much as the original one because she was less vulnerable in this. She comes and it's like, what are you going to show me, motherfucker? Like, I own this place. This is my town. I'm the queen. I'm going to be the queen of the sultan of this place, you know? I don't know.
She saw it from a bird's eye view, though. I think this was like a lot more different.
perspective.
Yeah.
No, I totally get it. And again, it was a fun moment, but I wanted that to be yet another one of those moments where like, yeah, we're going everywhere. I'm going to show you everything. The concept of the whole new world was not necessarily he was going to show the world, but they were going to experience it together. And they flew to some cool spots. I liked some of the visuals of them going down and using like the water flats, which I thought was really cool. But I don't know. It's magic. You're supposed to go to different places and see different spots and see all this stuff. And maybe they were just like, we don't have that fleshed out yet in our brains of like what this world is. Because maybe to your point earlier, maybe they do want to make it the bigger Disney World. I don't know.
I don't think they do.
It'd be cool if they did though.
It would be really cool. Also, I like that we got that moment of like, oh, Abu would have liked it. Like, oh, he doesn't like heights. And it's like,
Yeah.
gotcha, you motherfucker.
That's smart.
Gotcha,
Gotcha,
bitch.
bitch.
I do like that they set up, and to Greg's point earlier, that the magic does make people not see you until your character comes through. That was a strong call on their point. Because originally, like you would think in the animated movie, you're like, she just saw him like a day ago. Like if I met Andy yesterday, I'd fucking know him if he was wearing a different outfit. I'm like, you're wearing a different jacket. You're Andy.
You're Andy.
Let's do a
Ladies
show.
and gentlemen, this has been Aladdin in Review. Next week, we begin our 4-week adventure, going back to the more traditional format for Kind of Funny in Review for Toy Story in Review.
All right.
Where next week, Toy Story 1, then Toy Story 2, then 3, then
make a man
the brand new 4.
You'll make a man out of me. Let's
When all
not
the
tell
peanut
my
butter
wife.